I'm not hearing you.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how we will set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fear with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how we will set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clout. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Baratans too. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how we will set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how we will set up. The people fed up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. We encourage you to support the Independence back-to-back oldies VIP edition by Mr. Keith Beresford and the Yankee crew. All right. This will be at the Eagles Nightclub, Roth Street, Georgetown, Guyana, on the 30th, and then back again on the 6th of June, 2026. Again, hosted by Keith Beresford. Admission at the door, $2,000. First 10 women, free admission, courtesy of the Ben Chop Foundation. So, guys, you're looking for some clean fun? Get out there and attend the VIP Independence back-to-back oldies. All right. Also, J-Cut Annual Mother's Day Boat Ride, Sunday, May 10th, 2026. All right. Sunday, May 10th, 2026. Where? Brooklyn Army Terminal. Boarding, 6:30 p.m. sharp. Sailing, 7:30 p.m. sharp. All right. All top DJs on board. Again, J-Cut Annual Mother's Day Boat Ride. May 10th, Sunday, May 10th, 2026. Tonight's program is brought to you compliments of Ben Chop Consultancy, Immigration and Law. they can be contacted at 917-714-1082 for all your immigration needs. Welcome, 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 everyone. It is the 12th day of April 2026. I welcome each and every one of you to this evening program. Hope that you're continuing to have a very productive and happy weekend. Welcome, welcome. Please go ahead, share the link, like tonight's broadcast. We have a lot to discuss this evening. While you do that, I'm going to go ahead and do this evening's roll call again. Welcome to Over to You, a program for the people, by the people. Miss Aileen Norton, a pleasant good evening to you. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. Francis Keith Rockcliffe is in the house. Good evening. Miss Siobhan McDonald is in the house. Good to see you, Siobhan. Marcus Skinner is in the house. Good to see you. Brother Carlisle Madu is in the house. Good to see you, Carlisle. Miss Mary Figueroa is here. Good night to you, Mary. Navjo is in the house. Colleen Isaacs is here. Happy Sunday to you, Colleen. Miss Yvonne Rodriguez, by way of Barbados, is in the house. Good to see you this evening, Yvonne. Simone Blackman is in the house. Good evening, Simone. Miss Sandra Hanover, the freedom fighter, is in the house. Pace and power as usual. Good to see you. Miss Pam Halls is here. A pleasant good afternoon to you. More pace and power. Floretta Hamilton is in the house. Good afternoon, Floretta. Good to have you here. Miss Desiree Smart Felix, by way of Canada, is in the house. Good evening, Miss Desiree. Augustus Andrews is here. Good evening, Augustus. Marilyn Sandy is here. Good evening, good evening. Linda Ford is in the house. A pleasant good evening to you, Linda. Sandra Sargent is here. Good evening, Sandra. More pace and power in the house. Miss Rita Clark, as usual, always in the house. It's good to see you, Miss Clark. Miss Rhonda Spencer Tom, my good friend, is here. A pleasant good evening to you. Miss Audrey Brown is in the house. Pace and power. Good evening, Audrey. Miss Deslyn Wilson is here by way of Victoria. Good to see you. Miss Maxine Monroe. Yes, more pace and power. Miss Myrna Saul is here. More pace and power. Good to see all of you. Shemi Benjamin is in the house. Miss Darkus John is here. Good evening to you. Donna E. Fort is in the house. Good evening to you. Althea Galloway is in the house. A pleasant good evening to you also. Carl Duncan, good evening, my brother. Welcome to tonight's program. Puran Ramdas from all the way up in Region 2, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, is here in the house. The Honorable Mr. Keith Beresford is here. Don't forget, guys, those 2 nights of Oli's hosted by Mr. Keith Beresford. Shelley Douglas is here. Good evening, Shelley. Beverly Crandon Hudson is in the house. Good to see you. A pleasant good evening to you also. Rastaman is here. Good evening, Rastaman. You made the roll call. You're on time 2 days in a row. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're going to get started, right? I know probably a lot of you just came off, probably just like me. I just came off from viewing the funeral of Otis John Jordan Payne. All right? The brother that died at the hands of the Guyana Police Force. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to be a bit patient with me tonight. I think I'm losing my voice. So you're going to get fire, but, you know, I'm going to be a little bit calm. But we just bury our brother this afternoon. May he rest in peace. All right? We continue to mourn his loss with his family. Right? Like Dr. Hines said, today we bury our dead, and tomorrow we fight. We are not talking about going out there and physically fighting anybody. And at the same time, I'm not saying that if somebody tried to fight us physically, there's not going to be a fight. But I'm saying that we're not, when I speak of fight, is not to go out there and physically fight somebody. But it doesn't mean that if somebody try to physically fight us, it's not going to be a fight. It's definitely going to be a fight, right? Keith Beresford would have asked for 1 minute of silence. So let's begin that 1 minute now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for that 1 minute of silence for our fallen brother, Jordan Otis John Jordan Payne, who would have been laid to rest just a bit ago this afternoon, right? Dying at the hands of the Guyana police force, right? A force that the thousands of citizens that I would have seen lined the road from Aslington all the way to Covan John. They lined the road. What a display. It was quite a display of strength and power. What a display, what a demonstration of strength that was. They took his casket and they went and they laid it in the compound area of the Covan John police station. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. I agree with that action 100%. Dr. Todd said it in his comments that we should not just forget Brother Otis. No. Right? Sometimes it seems as if we forget, Brother Forgenet and young Brother Peters and the Henry boys and Brother Quindon Bacchus and our little sister, our little daughter, Adriana Young, even young Soraya Bourne. We can't forget them. They were here and they should have still been here. We have this tendency of saying, when God calls for you, it is your time. I don't believe that he was ready for them. A man is just about to have a child, and the Lord is ready for you. I'm not saying that it can't happen, because it has happened here. But it's the way in which it happened. It was completely avoidable. Had you gotten one of those senior officers to chat with that young man, a senior officer with experience, that story would have ended easily. But instead, he was manhandled. He was ill-treated. He wasn't given due process. Whatever showed up in the autopsy, yes, he could have been experiencing those symptoms. But I don't believe that is what would have led to his death. Time will tell where this goes. But we should not forget our fallen brothers and sisters. Because when these incidents occur, it seems to be like it's always one ethnic group these things happen to. And it's Guyanese of African descent. Like I said, it is troubling. And you might want to say, Wayne, why are you saying that it is troubling? Well, I'm saying it is troubling because it looks to be a strategy. It is not by chance. It is a strategy. And we must break that chain. Like I have been saying over and over on these programs, we must sink our foot in the dirt. We must lock arms. And we must say to them, no more. No more. How much more are we to take? How much more? Ladies and gentlemen, this evening I wear a red shirt. Wayne Caesar would never be PPP. I wear a red shirt standing in solidarity with Otis John Jordan Payne family. Right? They wore red today because they stand convicted that he was murdered. And I stand equally with them. They are convinced that he was murdered. And I am standing 100% in solidarity with them. Hence, the red shirt. Any other time you see me in a red shirt, I'm either standing up for the unions in Guyana or something significant. But never ever the PPP. No. Never ever the PPP. I just wanted to make that clear. So the brother was laid to rest. And we are now tasked with continuing that fight. Ladies and gentlemen, when I look at the turnout, and it is very similar to what I would have seen at our late brother Quindon Bacchus's funeral. Massive crowds. I say this respectfully to all the Guyanese that were present there today. You need to show up in these same numbers to represent your democratic right. Because if you show up in these numbers to represent your democratic right, you will not have to continue to bury young black sons, young black brothers, like we did today with Otis John Jordan Payne. Let him be an example that is going to bring about a change in us. Let him bring about a measure of unity, true unity, behind real leaders. You guys heard me. Real leaders. Leaders who truly care for the people. His death must not be in vain. His death must not be in vain. We will continue that fight. We're going to continue that fight for democracy. Okay? We're going to continue that fight. We're going to continue that fight for political rights. We're going to continue that fight for our civil liberties, freedom of speech, freedom of press, religion, assembly, association, because it's starting to appear in Guyana that you can't even assemble to protest. Our political rights, the right to vote, to participate in elections, the right to fair and democratic processes. We don't see that today. Equality and non-discrimination, that means the economic framework should be an economic framework for all 6 ethnic groups to be able to be successful within that framework. Also, the right to work. Now, Venezuelans breaching the border and coming into Guyana and displacing African workers for the most part. The right to fair wages. That's one of the reasons they brought in the Spanish, so that they don't have to pay the African the wage that he or she deserves. Education, health care, and adequate housing. We don't see that. Comrade Sister Robin Simon fighting to help out people at LBI, which quite a few of them did not vote for the APNU, but yet she went and she aided them. The party that they voted for, that leader, have 80 something thousand. What does he have? It's not 80,000. He has a whole lot of land. He has a whole lot of land. A true leader, a leader for the people, would have taken some of his riches and built something that could have temporarily housed these people. As you so care about people, 83 acres or 800 and something acres of land, whatever it is that he has. We need true leaders to lead the people of Guyana. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I did a little bit of lookup, because I knew we spoke on a high level as to whether the leader of the opposition has the necessary scope within his position to be able to appoint or terminate a chief scrutineer representing the parliamentary opposition that he is the leader of. And the answer to that is yes, he does have that right. But behind that, I'm going to say this, ladies and gentlemen. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Now, are you telling me when someone is terminated in that manner, they should be willing to share necessary information? When someone would have been a part of a party for 50 something years, and that party have what a rich history, and here you have a party that is not even 1 year old coming in and playing the bully role. You think that information is going to be available? But I'm going to say this. I always say this. Sometimes it's good when cooler heads prevail. You could have approached her. You didn't even have to write her a letter. You could write her the letter after the fact. You call a meeting with her and you say, look, this is our plan. You show her the rules. You show her the laws. Look, I have the right to do this. But I don't want to do it this way. We have a candidate that we would like to make the chief scrutineer. I would like for you to stay on and assist us with getting this person up and running, teaching this person whatever it is. Instead of that, you just wrote the woman, no thanks for your service, no thanks for nothing. Well, she never served Win. As far as you guys are concerned, she never served you guys. But technically she did, because you guys have been the lead party since after the September 4th election. Once the results was announced, you guys were the lead party. And she's now coming off from the position. So she has served you. It just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll be honest, right? And it's probably going to get a few people upset. The Win Party is an extension of the PPPC. I am convinced. I don't know when others are going to become convinced. All right. The Win Party is an extension of the PPP. And that is fine. Because at some point, they may need the help of the APNU. And I tell you something, you know what is funny, man? Guyanese are not taking the requisite time to sit down, read, observe, and learn. All right. This is something that wasn't difficult to figure out. It wasn't. All right. All the guy comes out and does is repackage old information that has been there, that has been discussed a million times. And everybody jump up and holler and scream and claps when he says something because he's financially wealthy. Nobody don't ask the question how nobody don't think about how it is that he would have become financially wealthy. Right? He gives a house, he donates a couple of cars. Everybody jumps up and shares and does everything. You never ask yourself how much he would have taken from you, the Guyanese people. You don't ever ask yourself that question. It never comes to you where you think, oh, why is it that this guy is doing so much giving? He's given because all that he has belongs to you guys. And it's not just him. It's many. That's why the economic infrastructure in Guyana looks the way it does. And I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not African Guyanese, a few African Guyanese who are up there who are not a part of the game. Oh, yes. They're a part of the game, and they do an excellent job at selling out their people. They do a great job at selling out their people. There's a learning curve for the Guyanese people. And I really want to see how fast they're able to catch on to what is happening. Again, you go into the back of Aslington, Pleasance, Buxton, different prominent African villages, and you're going to find Bangladeshis, okay, and Venezuelans. Right? Bangladeshis and Venezuelans. Ladies and gentlemen, Haiti is currently in a crisis. Haiti is a CARICOM state, for crying out loud. Ask the installed president, what is Guyana doing to aid Haiti? We were quick to help Jamaica. I don't have a problem with that. But what happened with Haiti? What happened with the African women and children that are punishing in Haiti? What about that? They don't care. They don't see that. They don't see that through their convenient lenses. You can't take in a couple of those people and balance the country from an ethnic perspective. No. It must be an edge for the PPP. These are internal Guyanese matters. So when you want to have ambassadors speak, they need to know what they're talking about. Somebody should have tagged them today to take a look at that funeral. And at the same time, you could send them a copy of the Keon Fudgeny and the Ronaldo Peters funerals and all the funerals that we've had. All the unsolved murders under this same government that sits here now. Guyanese, you better start wising up. I want to thank the APNU for another successful edition of Street Parliament. It's not always going to be a massive crowd, because it's not about crowd size. It's about the message. It's about the message. You don't want to participate in your politics in Guyana and you find yourself feeling that you're standing in the same spot and your life is not changing. And that has been the case for the last 6 years. Oil hasn't changed anything for you. Oh yes, the skyline of Georgetown, Guyana is changing because, of course, they're putting up buildings. Right? They're putting up buildings. You see the crowd we had today for Brother Otis' funeral? You see the crowd that we had for Brother Quindon's funeral? Those are the type of crowds that we need to come down to Georgetown and send a message. You want the world to look in at what is happening to you. You want the world to take a closer look through their binoculars at this oppressive dictatorship PPP regime. You come down in your numbers and you close out. No damage of property, nothing. You just take the streets. Just like how the PPP took 57 streets from the mayor and city council of Georgetown. You come and you take the streets. And you can do that because Guyana belongs to you. You see, when our young people, especially the young African Guyanese, starts to walk around Guyana, you understand me, and demonstrate that he or she is an owner and have a right to the same things that every other ethnic group has a right to, that is when things are going to change. That is when things are going to change. Also to coincide with the leaders standing up and belling the cat. Ladies and gentlemen here, some of you guys might want to know why sometimes I get upset. Azruddin Mohammed cannot bell the cat on behalf of people who oppose this government. Azruddin Mohammed cannot bell the cat on behalf of people who opposes this government. He is not capable of belling the cat. You go and you deliver 2 wheelbarrows of money and you giggling and skinning your teeth with the Attorney General. What type of optics you think that would have pushed out there? It's only an idiot would not be able to see that the two of y'all are one. Wake up, Guyana. Wake up. Y'all are sleeping. Wake up. You sit there and you allow these people to bully you. Guyana belongs to all of us. You have people claiming area and having transport that they own all these thousands of acres of land for gold mining and all these type of things. Those things are not legitimate. Those are government deals with friends, family, and favorites. That's why the MPs were blocked from entering that area. Government officials should never be blocked from entering anyway. You think if that was Vikram Bharat, Ashley Singh, and a few of the PPP ministers, you think they would have been locked out, ladies and gentlemen? Let's be honest here. But that's the Guyana that Guyanese are forced to live in today. And you've created this type of environment for yourself because of your non-action. Barry Jagdeo, over those 23 years, was allowed to say whatever he would have wanted to say and do whatever he would have wanted to do, with no one belling the cat consistently. So everything that the PPP does, there is a strategy. Now, everyone should be preparing with those 57 streets to make sure that no Georgetown resident loses his or her house. Why? Why should residents of Georgetown lose their homes when you have businesses that owe some of them billions of dollars, like GPL amongst others? You guys should be ready to take action with immediate effect. Shut the country down. It's your country. There's no equity for you in it. Shut it down. People come talking, but all Guyanese are benefiting from the oil revenue. Where? Show me. Show me. Dr. Todd was out earlier today, I believe, with a woman from Meadowbrook living in a motor vehicle. When the rain falls, she and her children have to go on to somebody's house because the water go into the vehicle. An old vehicle underneath a tree. You guys are talking what? You guys are talking what? First lady with Grace $10 million for selling lemonade. Go see the woman in Meadowbrook. Go and see the woman in Meadowbrook. She deserves a right to have a roof over her head. She's Guyanese. I believe she's about the age of 37, ladies and gentlemen. And she left the interior when she was a teenager and could never afford to go back. That's the Guyana we live in. That's Guyana. That's real Guyana. That's why I would never allow anybody, I do not care what position you hold, to come and take a position that it is all nice and dandy for Guyanese. The nerve. She further has a child that's disabled in a wheelchair. I think that child is 10 years old. She has another child that's 8 years old. She shouldn't have to live like that. And an African lady was out there, an African Guyanese woman, and she wept because she spoke about how long this woman has been doing this. And you guys stay at the top of the tier and y'all spit down on the normal Guyanese and talk down the normal Guyanese, throw them under the bus that they're not educated for jobs, for job openings, and all sorts of things. Who are supposed to educate the people? Whose responsibility it is to make sure that resources are in place for people to educate themselves? Whose responsibility it is to provide mental health counseling and general counseling for the people of Guyana? We all have Minister Vindi Prasad there for. Then when you're done, you all want to bar talk the citizens? Just running you guys' comments quick. You know, I love to make the program interactive. Henry Fordyce is saying, I do hope the APNU coalition supporters open their eyes and come to reality about what is going on with the African communities in Guyana. Thank you, my brother. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe that the APNU is wide awake. The APNU as a party. And you are right. The supporters' eyes need to be open. A lot of them went ahead. They were upset. And look, ladies and gentlemen, okay, we have time. We have about 40 more minutes. We're gonna dig in this afternoon. We're gonna dig in here this afternoon on the PNC. All right. The PNCR, the largest party in the coalition. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say something to you guys. And I'm gonna do it right here on this program. I am going to apologize to Comrade Norton for the cards that he was dealt. I have nothing to do with it. The hand that he was dealt was a very, very, very tough hand. All right? Was a very, very, very tough hand. You know it's what to mingle and lock arms with people and spend a whole lot of time with people, not knowing, you know, you're in bed now with snakes, with anacondas, well, not with small snake, with anacondas and pythons and komudi. Them things were big, big, big snakes in high, high levels in that party. They didn't even say, they weren't even smart enough to say, you know something? Man, let's unite, let's be one, and let's go and get the pie, and then we're going to fight over the pie when we don't get the pie. They weren't even smart enough. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. You know? Oh, I don't have time with you. I don't have... And they're gone. Listen, the PNC as a party was infiltrated. All right? It was infiltrated. People took pay. The Public Accounts Committee wasn't functioning. That was by design. That was by PPP design. And the person who was heading the Public Accounts Committee on the APNU side was a big snake. Yes, Jermaine Figueroa was a big snake. Is still a big snake. I said that Wayne Cecil. Yakotagi, I don't care. The big snake. All right? All the PNCR intelligence was being shared out. Right? Because you have to remember this. Aubrey C. Norton have to address his team. Have to address his team. And listen, don't just look at Jermaine and look at a Sherwin Holder and a James Bond and them and think that is only them. No, you still got some big, big snakes in that party. You still have some big, big snakes in that party. I know I'm going to be questioned, waiting why you say that. I know they're going to rear their heads soon. You guys think it's easy? You guys think it's easy? These people have undermined the people of Guyana. They have undermined the people of Guyana. Totally undermined. They take this whole thing of people's lives and make it into a big joke. Make it into a big joke. Everybody passing and collecting their money. Everybody passing and collecting their money. Shameful, disgraceful, all of you, and you know yourselves. You know yourselves. And I'm not putting it past social media presenters also. Some of them do the same thing. I don't care. I don't care. When I come here on Bench Up Radio, and I thank Mark so much for giving me the opportunity here to serve the Guyanese people. Not to take pay to undermine them. They're lucky this evening that my voice is not good. Challenge me. Challenge me. Challenge me. I dare you. In an oil-rich economy, you guys cannot allow the revenue to trickle down to the poor. They must remain poor and desolate. They must always stretch their hands to you for something. No, give them the opportunity to go and fish on their own. Give them the resources that they can go out and fish on their own and should not have to depend on you for handouts. You have not given them that opportunity. Our system in Guyana is a failure to our people. There's no democracy in Guyana. There is no democracy in Guyana. Stop pushing out nonsense and talking about democratic this and democratic that. It's a farce. I don't care who supports the PPP. The PPP is a pathetic party. 23 years of extrajudicial killing, starvation, poverty, violence that would have conditioned the people. A lot of times we want to blame the people, but sometimes we have to think about what they have went through under this same government that sits here now. In Parliament, the government said the word corruption must not be used. How dare you? How dare you? How can the most corrupt government in CARICOM dare to speak and say that the word corruption should not be used in Parliament? Man, you guys didn't want to have me as an MP in Parliament. Man, I would have tear you guys to shreds. I would have torn you guys to shreds, man. I want to have friends, you know. When it comes to the people of Guyana and my servitude to them, there's no friends in that. There's no friends in that. And that's the way it should be. A woman living in a car in Meadowbrook under a tree. And I'm hugging up and kissing up with people from the opposite side. Not a chance. Not a chance. A young man taken into custody. And then the next thing you know that he's laying cold there, waiting for his family to come and identify him. Dying in the hands of the Guyana police force. I'm going to make a call this evening, ladies and gentlemen, that the word force needs to be removed. It should be the Guyana Police Service. This is about servitude to the people. This is not about forcefully beating them up, persecuting them, and oppressing them. This is not about using the Guyana Police Force as a tool to intimidate the people who just sponsor that gun on your waist and the uniform that you wear and your salary. People don't pay taxes to have their children executed by the Guyana Police Force. People pay their taxes to experience protections under the Guyana Police Force. You stop the minibus drivers, you shake them down for money. You got to give me this or I'm going to pull you into the compound. You guys are lawless. You're despicable. You're selfish to the ones that do that. And then there's the other side, where you have some officers that cool and calmly go and execute their duties. But I tell you this, guys. You guys going to have to start speaking up at some point. Because there's a saying that Peter pay for Paul and Paul pay for all. When the citizens of Guyana decide to rise up, they're not going to pick and choose. There's not going to be time for that. Miss Hazel Johnson is saying animals have more right in Guyana than human beings. Yes, Miss Hazel Johnson. Yes. Human beings specifically of a certain ethnic group. Yes, Miss Desiree Smart Felix. The car was our home and is still our home. Dr. Dexter Todd said, we have to do something about this. And I agree with him. I agree with him. We have to do something about this. Local government elections is coming up. And I'm calling on everybody, all Guyanese, that listening to this program, and this program is shared to. I'm asking you guys to read the APNU manifesto. That's just your homework. That is just your homework. Read the APNU manifesto. And you might want to know, Wayne, why are you saying this? Why I'm saying this? Because it was a piece, it is a piece that is built for you. That is why you should read it. It's a piece that is well put together, well articulated, and it is built for you. It is not built for Mr. Norton or anybody else in the PNCR and by extension the APNU to see their way to riches. What is so difficult for Guyanese to see? These guys in the APNU, ain't nobody got apartment buildings, ain't nobody got nothing. Some of them barely have a car. What more you could want from them? They don't have anything. Everybody's entitled to a home. Yes, they got a home, and rightfully so. You sat in government, you should have a home. You know something? And look, Miss Desiree Simons, I cannot argue this point. I cannot argue this point that you are making here. Miss Desiree Simon is replying to Miss Rita Clark, and she is saying a lot of these people voted against their own interests. Let's pause there for a minute. Like I said, and I continue to say, the vote was used as a transactional tool. Okay? The vote became a financial instrument, basically. We took our vote, we made it into a financial instrument, and we exchanged that instrument and we receive the dollars. All right? You voted against your own interest. And then she goes on to say, and that way, I would like to know who these people voted for before I lift a finger to help. It makes sense. Because here, you're going and help somebody. I'm saying don't help them. But you might be helping somebody that never voted for you. Or here you have a whole group of people over here that voted for you that need help. And by the time you're done here, you have nothing for them. People who have showed loyalty and commitment to you, you have nothing for them because you've helped somebody else. We got to remember this. The PNCR and by extension APNU does not have the resources that the other parties have. Okay? I'm going to say this. The Win Party is going to always have money. Okay? There's always ways to launder money. You can't track money like that, especially if it is moved around cash. All right? You can't track it like that. All right? You heard the guy said it. He said he bankrolled the PPP for the 2020 elections. And he bankrolled them for many others also. So if he bankrolled them, they can bankroll him too. It takes two hands to clap, right? Birds of a feather do flock together, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to learn. We got a lot to learn. There's a whole lot to learn. Leader, y'all better pray for there to be new elections so you could have a new leader sitting in the opposition seat. Y'all ain't getting nowhere. You guys think you're going somewhere? You ain't going anywhere. The needle move. The needle move one way. You think removing Carol Joseph moves the needle? Doesn't move it one way. That's just an internal job at another opposition party. Because even those MPs that are former APNU MPs that now sit on win, they know that they have nobody with close the experience and expertise of Miss Carol Joseph. They know that. No one should be willing to argue that. I could say that's a fact. But let them continue. There's only so much they can do. And then after that, there'll be nothing else to do. And they're not going to attack the PPP. Ladies and gentlemen, they're not going to attack the PPP. Be careful, ladies and gentlemen. Be careful that the PPP does not work with the Win Party to change the Guyana constitution with a 2/3 majority. I'm just telling you guys, be careful. Keep your eyes open. Because if that happens, and y'all don't shut down Guyana, y'all dinner, lunch, bambai, everything. Breakfast, everything. You know, we like to use cat eat your dinner now. He ain't gonna just eat your dinner. He eating everything. Ladies and gentlemen, I was one of the first people, I think the first person actually, on Politics 101 with Dr. David Hines that objected to the current leader of the opposition being elected to that position. Because I knew it was a poor decision. It was a poor decision. I'm not going to say that he should not have been allowed the latitude to be an MP. You be an MP and you learn. You be an MP and you could learn from that position. But for you to come in and be the leader, you know it's what to go from Comrade Norton to Azruddin Mohammed. You know what you guys have just done? Azruddin Mohammed didn't even have the wherewithal to challenge the statements by the ambassador because he know what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on. You need a competent individual sitting there as leader of the opposition. Not a person who's going to write a letter to Miss Carol Joseph and then reach out to GCOM to find out if he did the right thing. You should know your scope. As opposition leader, you should already have read up, know your responsibilities, know your scope. You're talking about since September. You knew that they would have selected you. That was the plan. But let me tell you guys something. This leadership position is not a popularity contest. All right? You must have somebody in there who can execute. You must have somebody in there who is competent from a political perspective. You must have somebody in there that people are going to take serious. You don't see the Attorney General skinny teeth. That's why Barry Jagdeo says some Guyanese people really stupid. Henry Fordyce again, changes can only come when the Afro right-thinking Guyanese people come to face the reality about the real fact, what the wicked PPPC cabal is doing to their brothers and sisters in all the African communities. Yes, and let me say this, I am not going to just limit this to Afro-Guyanese because I'm not biased. They are facing the brunt of it. That's a fact. It's not my opinion, it's a fact. But then there are many poor East Indians that are facing the same trials and tribulations of the African Guyanese. To those brothers and sisters, and to the other 4 ethnic groups, the mixed races, the mixed race across Guyana. And when we talk about mixed race in Guyana, it's more so a mixture of African and East Indian for the most part. So you guys got a bit of both sides in you. Some people got, 4 of the different, mixed with 4 of the different 6 ethnic groups, right? You got to look at yourself. You got to look at government. And you got to ask yourself, is this government working for all Guyanese from a holistic perspective? You got to ask yourself that question. And if you have a conscience, you will do the right thing. You will do the right thing. Siobhan McDonald. Money is what strain the APNU supporters. And when they don't give their vote to the other parties, they left with a bombshell with empty promises inside. Empty. Empty. $100,000 or $50,000, whatever, $200,000, whatever you get for your vote, ladies and gentlemen, is temporary. It's not going to be sustainable. But oh my goodness, the value of that vote and what that vote can do when it comes to changing policies, what that vote can do when it comes to having a government in place that is people-centered. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. I recall the Attorney General saying that people should examine the parties and vote based on track record. I don't disagree with what he has said. But I am begging myself to ask myself the question, I want to know what the Guyanese people did when it come to comparing the parties. Because that had to be a real butcher job to have the PPP still sitting there. Okay? You talking about a party that is responsible for extrajudicial killings, all kind of thing. Look, you bury your family in Guyana. You know when you got the casket and thing, and you got the sheet and thing, and you the body laying there and all of them. Underneath that sheet, got chopper body parts of other people. This country, the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, is a lawless place under the PPP. It's a lawless nation under the PPP. Extrajudicial killing, Courtney Crumewing in the street, campaigning for the APNU and a change of government in 2015. They ordered his execution. Come right, they were so cruel. They knew how they ordered it. come right up behind him and shot him in the back of the head. Anil Nandalal, we need an update on Courtney Crum Ewing. Attorney General of Guyana, Anil Nandalal, we need an update on our brother Courtney Crum Ewing. You know what happened. You know what happened. We need answers. We need answers. You talk, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about examining character, you're talking about a government that bulldozed people at Moko. You talk about a government that had the excavator operator dig a hole and dump people livestock in that hole alive and cover it. That could only happen to African Guyanese. They would not do that to anybody else. Then people gonna come and talk, but there's equality in Guyana. Stay within your scope. I would advise everybody, stay within your scope. If you're going to speak, make sure you have the correct intelligence. Don't go there because you have a position of power and think that you're not going to be rebutted. We've all went to high-end universities. We have all studied. We all have education. I don't look at myself inferior to anybody. And I don't look at myself superior to anybody. That's why I could conversate up and down the ladder. It doesn't matter. A human being is a human being. A human being deserves the right to be treated with dignity and respect. Brothers and sisters, we are going to fight. We're going to fight. Guyana is a rich nation of 6 ethnic groups, and it shall remain so. Oh, it shall remain so. No ethnic group shall be eliminated. Why? For what purpose? All the ethnic groups in Guyana have a rich history, and that history must be carried on. Everybody need to lift their heads up and understand that they have rights. Do not allow yourself to be bullied. I watched the other day outside of that bar, an officer of the Guyana Police Force is going to tell a normal civilian that is not even threatening him with a weapon or any verbal threats that he's going to kill him. Am I hearing right? That little chubby guy with his gold chain hanging off of him, telling another guy that he's going to, you know something? I'm going to say this to you, and this is to the PPP, because it's you guys that empower these guys, right? And these guys just take that thing inside their waist and use it as their power, right? But those same guys you take and you lock up in a cell with certain people, they become something different. The guy, these people need to stop taking bully. And I agree with that citizen for standing up. Because from the minute he fall, it's on to the next person. And to the police officer said, bro, understand the standing orders, man. Understand the standing orders. We know you're a police officer. We'll give you your respect. But you're also responsible for respecting us and serving us, not bullying us. It's not everybody going to take bully. Not everybody's going to take bully. Me and you would have had a real problem because I don't take bullying. I don't take bullying. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll just browse your comment. Miss Casey, I see you call out a lot of names here. And I'm not going to call out their names on this broadcast because I'm not going to give credence to anybody. You know, yes, there was a massive undermining team. And when we go to undermine, we got to think about what we're undermining and the damage that we can do. And we also got to look at the big picture. We have to look at the big picture. Oh, the mystique about Azzuddin Mohammed possibly running for leader of the opposition and thing. Everybody was going along with it and getting excited. When I got my first opportunity to comment on it on public on Politics 101, I laid him out nicely. Because what many of you see as a positive move, I didn't see that as a positive move at all. I beg to ask the question, what are we doing to our parliament? What are we doing to our parliament? That's why the guy called the parliament a comedy show. That is why Barry Jagdeo called the parliament a comedy show. We got to do better. We got to do better, brothers and sisters. We got to do better. We have to do better. You have Claudette Singh, who votes with the PPP 100%, sitting at the top of GCOM. You embodying Claudette Singh. You ain't bringing out your supporters like Rhonda Lane and Kedaki Amsterdam and their team, though it was a small team. There was a few times the leader of the opposition at the time, Comrade Norton, went out with them. I saw MP Nima Flew Best out there with them. I even saw the AFC out there with them a few times. Go there and protest. Where's your protest? Where it is that you're belling the cat against the PPP? Talking about how much building Susan Rodriguez have. That was known knowledge already. We want to know what you're doing to combat air finale. Are you willing to put yourself on the line and come out playing and tell the people, look, myself and this guy air finale, the two of us plotted to defraud the GRA? Are you willing to do that? But yet some of you sit down and you guys won't call this guy leader. You guys want to call Azzuddin Mohammed a leader? Y'all got to come better than that. Y'all have to come better than that. What's good for the goose got to be good for the gander. You guys were killing Norton. Now, are you guys going to hold this guy to the same level? Are you? And many of you who undermined Comrade Norton, y'all look just like him. Y'all the same ethnicity as him. But yet you go to worship another. Dr. Hines is correct with his assertion of Lake Bottom. He's correct. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up on time. We are coming up on time here. It's 8:26. Our operator is sending the signal to me. All right? it is 8:26. So 8:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the East Coast, and 8:26 p.m. on the ground in Guyana. To the family of Otis Jordan Payne, we continue to mourn with you. We continue to keep you in our prayers. All right? We continue to mourn with you and keep you in our prayers. Ladies and gentlemen, as we leave the program this evening, also, I want to say that we also mourn with the gentleman that died this morning in the Enmore accident. All right? We send our condolences and sympathies to his family. Right? Onage Waldron, get on the job. It's not about tints. It's about us mitigating these everyday accidents. The blood on the roadways across Guyana. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of tonight's program. Don't forget the VIP Independence, back-to-back oldies VIP decision, the edition hosted by the Honorable Mr. Keith Beresford and the Yankee crew. Where Eagles Nightclub, Rob Street, Georgetown, Guyana. When? May 30th and also June 6th, 2026. You're going to have DJ Keith Beresford. You're going to have DJ Winky Bromell. You're going to have Sly, one-man band. You're going to have Genesis, one-man band. You're going to have Jermaine, the Reinforcer, one-man band. Admission at the door, $2,000. The first 10 females are free at the door, courtesy of the Mark Benchcop Foundation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. I love you. I love you. I love you. Over to you. Good night.